will now make an attempt to design an SR-71 jet. We start with 3 reference sketches that will guide us, and we bring in a cube as a primitive to start our work. So we redimension it freely and we position it along the main body of the aircraft. And then we switch to the front view and we pull this lower as trying to capture the overall shape. A little more adjustment. And we pull up the lower part of this rectangular shape. And we also add 2 edges vertically, which we'll use later because we'll switch into mirror mode. And now we add smoothness between this pair of faces and also the lower pair of faces. And now we will add 2 new edges along the length of these 2 faces, and we will pull them lower to provide this deformation that is characteristic of the shape of this aircraft. Then we make a pop out of the front and we pull it just in front of the cockpit, and then we shrink it horizontally and once more to get very close to the tip. We don't mind that the edges are not perfect yet, we'll fix that with smoothing in a moment. We adjust the top and the same at this point and all the way to the front. And also the lower part has a slight curvature. Now we fix all of the vertices which are correctly positioned, and we also select all of the chains of edges along the length of this, and with a strong smoothing we give them an overall smooth and continuous shape with no curvature fluctuations. Now we need to take care of the front. We will split this vertical edge at the middle with a vertex, which will then pull out. Initially it has an ugly shape, but don't mind, because we by simply adding 2 more edges over there, we are already very close to the desired shape. Then we fix this part of the model to make sure we don't change it, and we add smoothness between those edges and the front part of the aircraft. So we're relatively okay. Now we will continue working backwards. We select this face, we pop it out and we pull it all the way out. And we will also at this point get rid of half of this aircraft and use a mirroring to recreate it, so we only have to work on one side. We don't need to keep duplicating our efforts. Then we simply pull out that vertex and it will expand those 2 surfaces to create the wings. We add 2 more vertices to give some local smoothness, and we also do the same around the point where the wing turns out of the body of the aircraft. So that is already an overall concept shape. Now we will work on the cockpit a little bit. So we add a vertex on that edge and we deform them after removing the smoothness to follow the shape of the cockpit, and we also adjust the overall shape of that edge, and that is enough to give an indentation where the cockpit lies. And now we can slice through the wing by carving through it and remove that middle part of it, and that's where we will be putting the engines. So the engine is a separate design. We start with a cylinder again, we do some simple deformations and pop-outs, and up to the front we shrink it a little bit and we do 1 more extrude. Again, we don't care that these edges are jagged, because as you see we're selecting all of them, and we will do an overall smoothing that will give us the required shape. And then we add 4 vertices at the center of those edges, and then we connect them with 4 more edges which will turn into a circle. We expand it, we push it back in, and then we push the tip out, and we make all of these edges linear to create the front of the turbines. And some more work on the rear. And finally we need to add an extra edge on top of the turbine to pop out the vertical wings, as you see. We trace the contour, we slice there to add one more point after making everything linear, and we push that to the rear, and once more to fix the upper shape and create one more indentation, and again make it linear. So after placing the turbines within the design, this is the final product, an SR-71. Not perfect, but at concept level it's good enough.